Okay, I'm here with Amena Hadaya. 2-0 fighting for the HEX Flyweight title, 24th of February. That is this coming Friday. HEX 25 in Melbourne. Fight TV pay-per-view if you're not in Melbourne. It's about £15 here in the UK, so very easy to watch on the app. Big fight on the card between number one and number two pound for pound women's fighters in Australia and New Zealand, of course, for the flyweight title, as I said. Happy to be joined by Amena, who is in that fight, taking on Lisa Kyriacou. Amena, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. It's currently Saturday morning over in Australia, so how's your day going so far?
Yeah, good. I just finished our last sparring session, just while we're water loading, so it wasn't too much, wasn't too hard, but no, it was good, feeling pumped. Weight's good, so I'm ready.
Yeah, obviously we're less than a week now till the big fight. So how's this next few days going to look for you?
So just Saturday, Sunday's just going to be more of a chill stretch day. Monday's going to be a bit of drilling, really light stuff, obviously because we're water loading, getting ready to fly out. Then I got like a massage on Tuesday night, and then then we fly out Wednesday morning and head off to Melbourne.
How long's the flight?
It's only like an hour 15 or something. It's
That's
not
not
long
too
at
bad.
all.
That's not too bad. Um, so let's talk about the fight. Lisa Kyriacou is, of course, the opponent. What are your thoughts on her as a fighter? How much do you know?
I've watched her fights a few times. Like I've watched her fight a few of the girls I know. Um, I don't think she's just standard Muay Thai kind of stance. She's just going to walk forward. She just kind of doesn't have really much. What's the word? She doesn't really flow really well. So I feel like I'm going to definitely have that advantage on her. I'm a lot faster, a lot more crisp with my strikes. And yeah, I've just kind of seen her really tire out in first, second round, and this is a 5-rounder. So
Mm.
I've been training for a 5-rounder. I'm ready for a 5-rounder.
Yeah, not a bad person to train with for a 5-rounder in Alex Volkanovski, right?
Nah, never. He's a champ.
Yeah, we'll come on to him in a moment, of course, after his big fight last week. Lisa's got 3 times the amount of pro experience as you. Obviously, you don't think that's going to be a factor, but why do you think that that's something that you would be able to negate in this fight? How do you think you can overcome that?
I just think my fight IQ is obviously a lot higher. I mean, I'm surrounded by the best in the world. And I don't think, the fights that she's had, they haven't been, tests. You know what I mean? Like they've been, I've seen some of her fights, and some of her fights, I don't think she won.
Mm.
So I've seen some of the judges, like it go down to like unanimous decision. And I've been like, no, like she did not win that fight. But I don't know. I don't think, obviously she's got a bit more experience than me. But I was a boxer before I was a MMA fighter. I've got that experience as well. Obviously, the striking. I don't think it's going to bother me at all. Really, I'm pretty confident in my abilities. I know I'm a better striker. I know I'm a better wrestler. I'm a better overall fighter. So her, 4 more fights doesn't really bother me at all.
Yeah, and it's a big opportunity, isn't it, fighting for the HEX Flyweight title in your third pro fight. Did you expect an opportunity like that so soon? Because not just being in your third fight, but you only turned pro 3, 4 months ago.
Yeah, I turned
Yeah,
pro in November. Yeah,
that's
started
kind
doing
that's
my third
kind of
fight.
crazy to be in this position so soon, right?
Yeah, it is definitely, but I'm number two, so she's number one, so it's like no one else better to do it really.
Yeah.
And I fought a lot last year. I had 8 fights last year. This would be my ninth fight in less than 12 months.
Hmm.
I'm more than capable of getting that number one spot as well as the title, so I'm ready.
Yeah, obviously, as we touched on, we had the big UFC card in Perth last weekend. You were there, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
How was that experience? How was that night for you?
It was amazing. My
Or
mate fought my
morning in Australia, of course, not that night.
Yeah, it was 6:15, I think, or 7:15 was the first fight. But no, it was honestly the best. It was the first UFC event I've been to, and it was the best experience ever. Obviously, we got like front row seats, which is obviously really good. You get really kind of be up close and personal with all the fighters as well. Um, but yeah, it was a mad experience, and it kind of just, I don't know, walking into the stadium, I just kind of felt like this drive for this fight that I've got coming up. I was like, oh, that's going to be me. Like, I can do this. And like, I don't know, it was obviously amazing and experience, and getting to see my teammates fight, not only Alex Volkanovski, but, Josh Kulabau, Jamie Malaki, they all come down and train with us. Shannon Ross, like we were all kind of, it's really cool, like at our gym, like we get to have a lot of those high level people, those really experienced people. So it was really cool to watch them in action live. It was mad.
Yeah, obviously it's not just Volkanovski, like you say, Kulibau, Malaki, they both look great. Kulibau's finish, that was great. That was crazy.
That was mad.
Yeah. That was the way
You had people on edge.
the way he snuck that up so quick. Yeah, obviously training with Alex. How was it for you watching that main event then?
In terms of what happened in the result, or
How
like
how was that experience for you?
Oh, it was mad.
Just watching it,
That's
yeah.
my training partner.
Yeah.
He's the main, like I've never actually, I've always watched him on TV, and we always get together when he's fighting in America and we all watch him together. But like to watch it live right there, like it was amazing. And like just seeing him, he absolutely dominated. And we knew he was going to dominate, he's always had doubters, but look at him, like number one pound for pound. He absolutely dominated over that guy. So, and I think he won the fight, but as do many. But judges will be judges, so that's why never leave it up to the judges anymore. I've had some bad experiences with judges and scorecards, so just don't leave it up to the judges, and we'll be sweet.
Yeah, I'm right in saying he's cornered you before, right?
Yeah. Once or twice. Yes. I think he even might be coming to HEX as well. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So what's the kind of biggest thing you've taken from being with him, or biggest piece of advice he's given you?
Especially, obviously, I get very nervous before my fights and stuff like that. And like he's kind of told me, like he used to do like that. Everyone kind of goes through that experience, even like talking like this and talking on the microphone, like everyone kind of, gets that experience at the start, but eventually like I'll be able to like conquer that, and I won't be as nervous. I won't be as anxious before a fight. Because as I said, he told me he used to be like that. He used to be nervous and anxious about it, but look at him now. He loves it. Like, and I aspire to be like that. Like he's so like involved with his fans, and he's so humble, and he's just a really, really good person. So I aspire to be like that.
Yeah, and you talk about obviously the motivation of walking into the arena, seeing the whole crowd at UFC. But for all of you guys, the young fighters at Freestyle, it's gotta be just inspiring having that guy on the mat all the time, right?
Oh, it's unbelievable. Like I still get, like I've been training there for about a year now, and I still get starstruck. Even when he walks in, I'm like, oh, it's Bob. Like, oh my God, he just fought on the weekend. Like it's, you kind of, I don't know, for me, I don't think I'll ever get used to it. Even just having like all the other like fighters around, like Colby and Jarrett, like they're such high level fighters. It's insane. Like just having them like, there to drill with us and teach us stuff. Like it's mad. It's the best experience, and it's the best team around me.
One thing I want to touch on when talking to you now, of course, a few months ago, you were part of a virtual reality test for concussions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just talk a little bit about how that process worked.
So they came in with these VR things, popped them on our heads, and they obviously got all our details, our age, our weight, and like did all that kind of stuff. And then there'd be these like dots on the screen, and we'd have to follow the dots with our eyes, and we'd have to like count out loud like what we saw on the screen. Like there'd be different like levels, if that makes sense. So they did that initially, and then if we were to get concussed, or if we're to get cop some damage in a fight, that's when they do it again, and they see how our brains have changed.
Yeah. Obviously there's something you talked about in your interview for that you're trying to personally take precautions in that. I think you said your mum's a nurse, something like that. So
yeah, I'm a nurse. My mum's a nurse. My auntie's a nurse. My cousin's a nurse. We're all nurses.
I see. So obviously that's something you're very aware of. But do you think the issue a lot of the time with fighters is kind of like thrown to the back burner, or kind of gets forgotten about when people are so kind of determined to push forward their career? Do you think it kind of gets forgotten about that, that there is some real danger to this?
I definitely think it's forgotten about, especially like at my age. People are like, oh, we'll be fine in a couple of years. We'll be fine. My knee will be fine. My brain will be fine. And then you get to that stage and you're like, oh, like I've got arthritis here, or you've got like a short-term memory loss, or you develop like a stutter or something like that. Like, at this age, it's kind of like, oh yeah, I'll be fine. But realistically, like the stuff you do now is what's going to affect you then. And if you take the right precautions, then, hopefully, it will be less, I don't know what the word is, less detrimental to your life later on. But definitely at a younger age, including myself, like I'm still complacent. I'm like, I'll be fine. My knee will be fine. It's just like, just that young attitude. Like, but realistically, like I think there should definitely be a bit more of a protocol towards concussions and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know your teammate Colby, who I think is fighting on HEX as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did that test as well. He mentioned that he'd had 3 concussions just last year, in the year. Do you know, if you're okay saying, do you know how many you've had in your career so far?
I don't think I've had any.
Okay,
Yeah, never. No.
that's good.
Yeah, strong brain.
Yeah, something's going okay then if that's the case.
Yeah, it's all the gum I chew. That's what I put it down to. Got a
Yeah.
strong jaw.
Okay. Finally switching gears back to the fight. When yourself and Lisa step into the cage on Friday, HEX 25, 24th of February, what can the fans expect?
They can expect some banger of a fight.
Mm.
Don't get me wrong. Like, she's a tough girl. I'm not gonna go, oh, this is an easy fight. Like, she's a tough girl. She's built. She looks strong, but it's just gonna be like toe to toe. I think it's gonna be a lot of striking, and I think there's definitely gonna be a grapple in there. Whether it's me initiating it or her initiating it, a lot of people look at me and they go, oh, she's just a striker. She's just a striker. It's like, well, I'm not just a striker. It's just that if I'm beating you up on the feet, why would I take it to the ground? Like, I'm definitely capable of, taking it to the ground and, taking it to the fence and stuff like that. Like, I've got those capabilities. It's just that if I'm beating you up on the fence or like beating you up and striking, why would I bother taking it to the ground? Everyone wants to see some blood and, some splits and stuff like that. So I definitely think it's going to be a bit of a bloody fight. And I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, of course, I want to thank you for the time today, Amena. Just before we finish up here, feel free to shout out any sponsors or where people can catch up with what you're doing.
My sponsors. Trying to think. Sorry, I'm water loading. Elite Muscle Therapy. He's my physio. He's my physio massage therapist, and he's been amazing. He obviously keeps me in check. That's the guy I'll be seeing on Tuesday. Baymed Performance, Chris Jaffrey. He's amazing. Does all my S&C. Keeps us all built and stuff like that. Especially for this fight coming up. I know Lisa's nice and tough. Combat Nutrition as well, keeping me all supplied protein, getting me ready for the week. And who else is there? I think there's one more. Oh, Chomps night guards. They got my mouth guard sorted, and they're always ready to give me another one as soon as I break it.
Yeah, of course. It's HEX Fight Series 25 going down on 24th of February, this Friday. Fight TV pay-per-view. So all you've got to do is download the app. It's around £15 here in the UK. Do you know what that is in Australia?
Maybe like 25, 30 bucks,
okay,
maybe.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, Fight TV app is easy to get. You just got to download the app and order the pay-per-view through there. It's Friday daytime here in the UK. Of course, Friday evening in Australia. Make sure you check it out as Amena fights for the flyweight title in HEX. Thanks for the time today.
Thank you.